Alright boys, so today we'll be reviewing our boy Death Dog. Um Death Dog is solo queen rant, and he's just dropped some videos for us to review some VODs. Usually I try to stay away from reviewing rank VODs, guys. By the way, if you do see me like not looking directly at the camera, it's because camera up here, monitor there, so yeah, but usually I try to stay away from reviewing ranked VODs, primarily because I don't really play ranked. I am that pub life player that like solo queues and just loves to go on pub stomp roll. So I don't like the really especially when I don't have like a full team. I don't like the really more slow paced style of run. So I try to stay away from reviewing ranked VODs too much, simply because I don't play it. But today we'll be reviewing one for our boy Death Dog. I kind of looked through this clip already, guys, so I kind of like just looked through it, make sure that it's something that I actually could give some tips on and stuff like that. But that does get me into the first like huge tip that I'm going to give right now, right? Think about, I feel like in a lot of ways, a lot of the stuff that like coaches say, or like more advanced players will say to like new players, or like they sound so simple, but and they get repeated over and over again, and because they're like so simple and they get repeated over and over again, they kind of get overlooked. So my job in a way is to like say the simple things over and over again, simply because they're the things that work. And so yeah, the first huge tip here, guys, the one that I'm gonna be stressing 10 million percent, is the first rule of ranked is don't solo ranked. Like it doesn't get more simple, that it doesn't get more simple and straightforward than that, guys. At the end of the day, no matter how skilled you are, Apex Legends is a team-based game. It will ultimately come down to the overall skill of the team. And so the first rule of rank is don't solo rank. No, you can do this, but you shouldn't do it with the expectation to win, right? So actually cannot be stressed enough. Like, if let's say, for example, you're a silver player, by simply by playing with teammates that you're familiar with and that are familiar with you, you just like instantly go up to say gold level, right? The first rule of ranked is don't solo ranked. Okay, but and there are a lot of examples here throughout this clip of where that comes into play, and we'll try and get through this quickly, because there are actually like two clips of this, so part one and part two. So I'll try and just like skip to the interesting parts really quick. There are some interesting things to note here, but if you stay to the end, you should learn a lot. So let's see.
This might be a good place to land, but
Alright, so right here you kind of get off the drop. Nothing really happens off the drop, guys. Nothing interesting, more or less. Let's try and get to the good stuff. Alright, so I do believe right here is where they find their first fight. And throughout this entire time, guys, I pre-watched this clip, so I kind of know. Right, throughout this entire time, one thing that I'll be noting, and you can look as we're in this area, and you'll notice it throughout the entire, for the next about minute to 2 minutes of this gameplay, is how not focused this team is. Right, what do I mean by that? I mean, you can see in his play, and as the team is going, they're all kind of in their own space, like doing their own thing, like not really focused on any one particular team, and it shows in the individual players. So one of the biggest things here in this section of the game, it is like is the focus of the player, right? And is the movement of the player. In a lot of these clips, right, the next minute or 2 minutes, we'll be able to see that this player here is actually kind of just being swayed by the game, more or less, right? Like the actions aren't, if the actions aren't focused, there isn't any direct intent with any necessary like any of the teams is fighting. It's more or less just responding to things that are happening in the game. Now if you watch like really good players, you'll see that very rarely they're in a position where they're really responding to the game. And even when they're responding to the game, it's done in a way where they always have a concise plan that they're executing. Even if that plan fails, they're on to the next plan, right? What we see here for like the next minute or two. Actually, and I should like take a moment to just point this out here. You see this guy here, the wingman, you can, but the wing, honestly, you're really nuts with the wingman. It's not necessarily like the best close range gun. It can be used, but you have to be really nuts with the headshots. So the proper thing to do here would have probably been to switch to the R99 and just shoot at the guy, because it's a better close range gun. The ideal thing would have been to have like a shotgun to just instantly melt the guy, but yeah, just something to note here. This wasn't too much of like a bad player or anything. His teammate was where is our EpiPen? This wasn't too much of a bad player right here. His teammate was right here. Oh my, our pen is too big. Teammate was right here, so I mean, it's not terrible. He didn't get like lasered or melted, but that's only because the guy was fighting the teammate and wasn't really focused on him at all. So this guy like zero awareness right now. But would have loved to see that weapon switch come out a lot quicker. This is like a thing you'll notice as we watch this as well. There are times when certain actions should have been done quicker for this player, and they just, because they didn't happen quicker, they kind of resulted in bad situations. But throughout this entire like for like minute or two, like this team is kind of just hovering here, not focused, not really intentful, not really communicating very well at all. And so what ensues is that you end up in those situations where nobody's like really leading the team, or the team isn't exactly in any proper direction. So in my opinion, the holding here wasn't like a bad thing. It's not like they were holding here necessarily for too long. It was like the worst thing you could do, but the team could have definitely been more directed in terms of how it was picking fights and how it was beginning and ending fights. And that's just like one of the big things here. In a moment, we see this one of his teammates actually go down here because he's in a completely separate fight, and the reason is because they don't have proper communication, because they're not a proper team, right? They're a collection of randoms, right? And so that is again coming where, like, if you care about your rank and that's what you care about, you shouldn't be playing with randoms at all in rank. It's so important. I'll stress it 10 times if I have to, because it is a key thing. All right. And so we see Mirage goes down here, kind of in a different fight, in a zone of his own, really, or like not being able to communicate what's happening directly with his teammates because they're a random team. And so this whole section here was kind of just like that idea playing out to its fullest, right? Having a team of people that are just randoms, where the communication isn't solid, the team dynamic isn't set. No, they do, I'm not like shitting on them or anything, they do their best as a group of randoms to play the game as a team, like 100% commendations on them. But like there's just something about a team dynamic where you can communicate quickly in real time in Discord, or a team that you're already familiar with, that you can't replace with randoms here. So for the rest of the time, I'll just be like pointing out some more things related to that. All right, we see the Watson go down here, and immediately our boy kind of smokes out, goes for the res. Not the terrible move, but I want you to notice something here. This Watson is kind of tilted right now. This Watson isn't, like, you can know when a player is tilted, right? This Watson needs to move off of this roof kind of, and he doesn't, because the enemies over here know exactly where he is. Now our friend goes for the res instantly, which is a good thing to do. But if any decent set of players over here, or any proper team over this side here, the enemies there, would have just shot where they done the Watson, and our guy here would be dead. Now that happens because they're not a proper team. This Watson probably cares zero, and so like that communication doesn't happen where the Watson doesn't fall off the roof or cross to somewhere else or anything. But our boy does do his best to raise his friend here, and that's something we'll notice with Death Dog here. He does try to help his friends. A shame really, because he gets wasted on randoms. But yeah, let's continue. Oh, alright, we have to back up there. Like, alright, so right here, this was a prime example of everything you need to not do. You kind of need to not do in a 1v1 fight, right? First things first, we have an R99, so not too terrible. R99 can shred people up close, but it's not like a shotgun or anything, right? And so there does need to be a little bit of caution in the play here when you're up close to the person and you don't have like the best weapon for a gun. But even the movement here was kind of terrible, guys. If you notice, the door, this is movement that you don't want to make, right? Any movement that leaves you vulnerable, or any movement that is not obviously a kill for you, or that leaves you in this weird space where you're likely to get shot before you can shoot the enemy, is a bad movement, right? And so we see the door closes here, and our guy Death Dog, we just use his Death Dog name, kind of pushes through the door to be aggressive. Not the worst thing you could do since you have your team around, but we don't know where this guy really came from, right? We don't have too much information on this guy. We don't know if he's half HP, like full HP, like what she's like, nothing really. So this push in here that left us open to collect shots as we were strafing away from the door was kind of a bad play. Any good player there would have probably had a shotgun and just like cleared his head off the moment he got the opportunity to shoot at him for free, because he was moving to clear this door. And so yeah, this is one of those movements that you just don't want to make at all. Any movement that leaves you open for a prolonged period of time and gives the enemy a chance to shoot at you before you shoot at them is a terrible movement. This movement is the equivalent of opening the doors in when you're fighting someone and they like run behind the doors and they're just waiting and healing. That movement is equivalent of just bursting down the doors. You're gonna get shot in the face, okay, because of the animation. So yeah, terrible movement here from our boy. Does win the fight, but I believe, but 9 out of 10 times you lose this